Good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast live on Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobe Gonzabkeloago and I am together with Zamanzi Manze. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. King's Office Director of Economic Affairs, His Royal Highness Prince Lindani, says the construction of the 2 billion Emalangeni Mall in Manzini is His Majesty's vision. The Deputy Prime Minister says the Kingdom of Eswatini is grateful that the first COVID-19 vaccine trial has reached the final efficacy analysis stage. Meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister says government is not taking lightly the calls to declare gender-based violence a pandemic. And now for the news in detail. King's Office Director of Economic Affairs, His Royal Highness Prince Lindani, says the construction of a mall in Manzini that will cost about 2 billion emalangeni is His Majesty's vision. The Prince says it is pleasing to have people like the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, and others who worked with him to have this vision of the mall come to reality. The Prince said this during the launch of the Manzini Mall project, which was held at the Royal Swazi Convention Centre today.
King's Office Director of Economic Affairs, His Royal Highness Prince Lindani, says the Manzini Mall vision was His Majesty's initiative. He says it is pleasing that people like the Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade took that vision forward and made it a reality.
It's about time that we have teams that will work for His Majesty, teams that when His Majesty speaks about a particular vision, people that will actually understand what he's talking about. Because there's nothing more frustrating than, having all these big dreams, thinking about certain things, and then appointing particular committees, teams to look into such projects. And every time you keep pouring yourself out, and these people are just not really understanding fully the way it is. So it's really applaudable having such teams right now that are running around, EPA as well.
Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade Mangoba Kumalo says His Royal Highness Prince Lindani played a vital part in opening certain doors for the project to finally be a reality.
But today is a really, really great day, and I think based on what you were telling me just now, His Majesty is very proud that we are at this particular point in the journey. And I'm particularly excited that as we have been wallowing in our misery and complaining about the effects of COVID-19, His Majesty challenged us to say, you guys need to start working on a post-recovery strategy. And a big part of it was making sure that it is a private sector-led growth.
Chairman of the Economic Recovery Enablers, Stephen Kininza, says COVID-19 has changed the way entrepreneurs do and think about business. He thanked Ntwese Developments for choosing to invest a project of this magnitude in the kingdom.
And let's be honest, when government, obviously through the head of government and the minister and his team, came with the 30 billion initiative, there was skepticism about it. Where are you going to get this COVID? But these are examples that actually, in COVID, they were able to deliver.
Kininza says they anticipate more investors coming to Eswatini post-COVID-19. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Ezulwini.
Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the Kingdom of Eswatini is grateful that the first COVID-19 vaccine trial to reach final efficacy analysis indicates that a high rate of protection against COVID-19 can be achieved very rapidly after the first dose. Masuku says the Kingdom prays for the vaccine to reach all corners of the world. He said this during the special session of the General Assembly in response to the coronavirus pandemic.
Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says the anticipation of the second wave of COVID-19 on its own is taking a mental toll on people. Masuku says the virus has claimed lives, caused economic destruction, and also altered the normal way of life. Masuku says this is the same case in Eswatini, where over 120 people have lost their lives because of the virus. The TPM said this when addressing the special session of the General Assembly in response to the coronavirus disease COVID-19 pandemic.
We are grateful that the first global COVID-19 vaccine trial to reach the final efficacy analysis indicates that a high rate of protection against COVID-19 can be achieved very rapidly after the first dose. We pray for the rapid distribution of a vaccine that will cover even the most extreme ends of the earth.
Masuku also informed the meeting what the Kingdom has done to assist the Maswati who have been affected by COVID-19. He says Eswatini has put together a post-COVID-19 economic recovery plan to change the course on the established economic order, dispersed food packages to laid-off workers, and also created a special dispensation to subsidize the testing cost of cross-border traders. Masuku then said the Kingdom of Eswatini pays tribute to all the COVID-19 frontline workers as they continue to preserve lives. He also said the Kingdom mourns lives that have been lost around the world because of the virus. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Manzini.
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says government is not taking the calls to declare gender-based violence a pandemic lightly. Masuku says, however, there is a lot that needs to be considered before this can be done, including matters of the law. He was speaking during the presentation of My Memeza safety devices by the Eswatini BEVERAGES at his offices.
With the rise in calls for government to declare gender-based violence a pandemic, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has come out to make it clear that something is being done about this. He says working with stakeholders, government continues to strengthen laws relating to this kind of abuse. Masuku was speaking during the presentation of 250 My Memeza safety devices, a device that makes noise after being disassembled during an attack which was presented to his office by Eswatini BEVERAGES worth 37,500 emalangeni.
We are doing something about the outcry. There is a lot that needs to be considered before we declare gender-based violence a pandemic. We have issues of the law. We have to align everything that we do in declaring it as a pandemic with already existing laws like the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018 and financial resources when we declared HIV a pandemic. There were things that were considered. We had to establish a wing that deals with it, which was nature. Laws go through Parliament that has to be considered too. As we have been doing with all our partners, we are not turning a blind eye to these calls. The safety of the nation is government's utmost priority.
Eswatini BEVERAGES Country Managing Director Bridget Makura says they made the decision to donate their safety devices after seeing the continued increase in gender-based violence cases,
which will help in preventing crime inflicted, and especially crime inflicted to the vulnerable community, mostly women, girls, and the disabled. Deputy Prime Minister's Office has been tasked with the important responsibility of protecting the vulnerable through effective gender family issues program, as well as coordinating children's policies.
Eswatini continues to give priority to gender-based violence issues. This is evident in the enactment of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018, aimed at eradicating gender-based violence. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Ngamandla with Fabrice Musonera in Babane.
The Minister of Tourism, Moses Vilagati, says it is the ministry's wish to completely eliminate plastics in the country, which are a threat to the environment. Vilagati was speaking during a tour to different supermarkets in Manzini, where he was promoting the Plastic Bag Free Eswatini campaign.
The Minister of Tourism, Moses Vilagati, together with members from the Eswatini Environment Authority, visited Manzini supermarkets to promote the Plastic Bag Free Eswatini campaign, aimed at promoting the use of bags or paper bags opposed to plastics. The minister says they wish to completely eliminate plastics in order to achieve a clean Eswatini.
Sibonile ukuthi lama plastic onuya kunene ahlukumeta imvelo. Sithi siyabala kulamalanga sathola ukuthi ngenyanga emaplastiki lasuka kuleti tolo ayenza ku 1 million. Onke ke lawo maplastiki kusho ukuthi aya lapha eveni. Kungako sibona ukuthi nguloyo naloyo salaphatha sakhe esikhwama. Lokhu sijabulisa konkosi ukuthi siyababona bonke labantu bayajabulela lo mkhankaso futhi bathi phethe lethi kwamataba. Sithi ka baqhubeke kulele bakwendawo.
He says he wishes that everyone can fully cooperate in this campaign and have his or her own bag to use every time they go for shopping. The Manzini Regional Administrator, Chief Gija, also pledged his support for this campaign.
Angisho ukuthi lo mkhankaso ngiyawusekela ngenhlitiyo yami yonke. Ngibonile emaplastiki alimata netinkomo ekhaya emphathweni inkomo tengoze tafa letinye tadle emaplastiki tatholakala kugcwele emaplastiki ngekhathi. Ngangabona ke nenguku inguku idla lokuthitha ekaze plastic lakhacela yagcina seyigijima ngathi sibheka kuphi lenguku ngokuthi egcwele plastic basalikhipha lisaphuma plastic akusaphefumuleki emaplastic abalimade lebantwana bagcina sesangena khatha plastic langasakhona iphefumula.
He says united, eMaswati will eliminate plastics. Plastics take about 400 years to decompose in water and about 8,000 years to decompose on the ground. I am Kian MCB for Eswatini TV News, NGWANE Park.
The acting minister of ICT, Mancoba Khumalo, has applauded the private sector for continuously supporting university students in their different ICT projects. The minister was represented by the principal secretary in the ministry, Maxwell Masuku, during an ICT Fair Prize presentation that was held at Gwaluseni.
Annually, the University of Eswatini and the Royal Science and Technology Park usually hold the ICT Fair. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the fair was held virtually this year. Participants were awarded on Friday, which showed mostly innovative ideas by university students. The acting Minister of ICT, Mancoba Khumalo, who was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Maxwell Masuku, encouraged students to continue showcasing their talent.
Most important, strengthening the national system of innovation. People need to know about the fruits that technology can bear, the changes and the improvements in service delivery. The collaboration between the government of Eswatini, the University of Eswatini, the Royal Science and Technology Park, APA, FNB is commendable. Collaborations are the backbone of a healthy national system of innovation.
Nozizwe Mulela spoke on behalf of the First National Bank, who supported the competition financially, promised to continue supporting students as they also gain from this project as a bank.
But we have to create enough space for them to use the energy and curiosity of their youth. Technological innovation will play a significant role in providing that space and helping the country leap forward.
DT Technologies were pronounced the overall winners and scooped an amount of 30,000 Malangeni. Tanaka Masarurambi says they will use this money to finance their company.
You've given us something that us as students, we feel like, okay,
you really care about us as students.
He says COVID-19 taught them to be innovative and explore new ways and methods of doing things. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Egwaluseni.
The face of Manzini will change from next year. This will be because of the construction of a mall that will cost about 2 billion emalangeni. The project is set to provide about 100,000 job opportunities during the construction phase.
The mall will have over 100 stores and it will be constructed at the Old Trade Fair in Manzini. Eswatini Investment Opportunity Authority Chief Executive Officer Sibani Mngomezulu says the construction of the mall will not only bring job opportunities, but it will also encourage entrepreneurship among Emaswati.
We are excited about the anticipated impact of this investment in the country, especially its proximity to the Mavuso Trade and Exhibition Center, which we manage. As IPA, we are excited about the collaboration with sister agencies and stakeholders, Manzini City Council, the Ministry of Housing, and others.
The project comes through Ntwese Developments, whose managing director Herbert Teledi says a substantial amount will be invested in the project, while jobs will be created as well.
We believe this center will create, during construction, just under 1,000 jobs, and then on a permanent basis, permanent jobs that will be created are estimated in the first phase to be just under 1,400 employment opportunities.
Unpacking the construction plan was Ilunga Consulting Services Director Antonio Souza, who said the Manzini Mall will be 3 times the size of Bunu Mall. Souza says they are yet to table a traffic study report to the Manzini Municipal Council.
We do understand that we're going to deal with it later, but with the transport. But you can see that the NGWANE road that comes into Manzini is really the one that they're battling to accommodate the traffic. So the idea is to take traffic off that NGWANE road and try and divert it through the mall and through a ring road, which these studies are still going to be shared with the Manzini Council.
The project is expected to start around April next year and will take about 18 months. The Manzini bus rank is one area expected to be affected by the mall project, as a new one will be constructed after all deliberations have been concluded. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Ezulwini.
The World Health Organization in the country, together with the Ministry of Health, have started a campaign themed Do It All, which aims to combat the spread of COVID-19 in the country. The World Health Organization Communications Officer, Winnie Mavuso, says the campaign is expected to take a period of about 18 days in different areas of the country.
The World Health Organization in the country, together with the Ministry of Health, have started a Do It All campaign which seeks to encourage people to do their part in combating the spread of COVID-19. The World Health Organization Communications Officer Winnie Mavuso says with this initiative, they aim to reach out to all Emaswati in the 4 regions in the country to ensure that people continue adhering to COVID-19 rules and regulations to prevent the country from experiencing a second wave of the disease.
Do It All. This
campaign aims to fight the spread of COVID-19, especially during the festive season, where we might experience increase in cases. We'll visit all areas in the country, encouraging people to take care of themselves to protect others as well.
Dr. Angelo Shaw from the Ministry of Health explained about the services that will be provided to Emaswati during the duration of the campaign.
There are 2 tents, as you can see. The one tent is where we'll be speaking to the public, helping them with anything that is on their mind, to help them with any issues, and as well we'll be screening them as well for those that are willing. Then after screening, while we are screening, we are looking for any flu-like symptoms. Once we find any flu-like symptoms, we take that person as if they are screened positive. Once you have screened positive, you're taken as a suspect for COVID-19, and that's when we go into the second tent, and this is where we will swab you. And in the swabbing, these days we are using an antigen test, or it can be a PCR, but mostly we're doing antigen test, which is faster, but it takes around a day or two to get the results back.
350 students from NGWANE Teachers Training College graduated today. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the students graduated virtually in the comfort of their homes. NGWANE College Principal Dr. Amos Mahlalela has congratulated all students who made it.
NGWANE College students who just completed their final year have graduated. The principal, Dr. Amos Mahlalela, says constraints emerged due to the outbreak of the coronavirus that forced learning institutions to resort to e-learning.
Ngilovelele usuku njengalokubona nje laba bala ekhaya staff bagcwelela eholeni ba celebrate lona losuku. Bantwana bethu ke bona batala celebrate le makhaya laba khona khona. Iplan yethu beyithe lamuhla start to celebrate ngala kube nalabantwana ba celebrate kwasebe kuba nema technicalities lathile labe saphazamisa kungako nje streaming setha wendwa kusasa wena wekunene umntwana uma yafunza noma kusesikolweni noma ku-institution kufanele akhiphe wonke amandla lanawo ngoba empeleni udele kona lokho simnika kudla simnikele iclass simnike tishela sizathu ke sokungaperformi unako konke lokho angisibona.
Celani Shongwe, who is among the top 10 best performing students, says he is thankful to the Almighty for caring and watching over him as he did his studies.
Kwami nje ngaba kubonga umdali lo wende konke namhla ukuthi ngigcine nami ngiphumelele gcine ngibitiwe nje umntwana lokuhlule bonke ngane outstanding student.
Principal Mahlalela thanked the Ministry of Education, the college lecturers, as well as the students for working cooperatively throughout the learning period. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Ngumalo, it's Muva Shongwe, NGWANE Teachers Training College.
The Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority Chief Executive Officer Vusi Mkhumane says it is important for Eswatini to be part of the ongoing meetings whereby they are addressing the Eswatini Electricity Company application requesting for the 7% tariff hike. Mkhumane was speaking during a meeting with the Eswatini Electricity Company and stakeholders addressing the tariff hike application that was held at the George Hotel in Manzini.
The Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority, together with the Eswatini Electricity Company and affected stakeholders, met to talk about the EEC application on the tariff hike, whereby the Eswatini Electricity Company requested for a 7% tariff hike. The Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority CEO Vusi Mkhumane says it is important for Eswatini to be part of the meetings that address the tariff hike so that they can also provide their views which will create better decision making.
We need to get the electricity company's customers' views on the tariff hike. We will engage in meetings with all customers in all the regions in the country.
The Eswatini Electricity Company Acting Customer Service Manager James Mabunza explained on how the company will operate and says people have to ensure they use electricity wisely to prevent paying huge amounts of money.
I can assure you, customer
Availability of electricity brings development in the country. We will ensure our customers receive great customer care in all areas they need assistance from.
The Eswatini Energy Regulatory Authority, together with the Eswatini Electricity Company, urges Eswatini to be part of the ongoing meetings, as this is a matter which needs everyone's input and affects all Eswatini. Reporting, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda in Manzini.
The The Eswatini National Youth Cooperative Alliance Vice President Lungelo Mdluli says the Go Green campaign, which aims to improve the environment and fight climate change, will help in improving the environmental sector in the country. Mdluli was speaking when Eswatini National Youth Cooperative Alliance planted 120 trees at the Divine Healing Ministries in Manzini.
The Eswatini National Youth Cooperative Alliance still continues with the Go Green campaign, which aims to plant 10,000 trees in different areas in the country. The youth from the alliance have planted trees at the Divine Healing Ministries Church. The Eswatini National Youth Cooperative Alliance Vice President Lungelo Mdluli says since they started with the campaign, they have planted trees in different regions in the country, and their goal is to complete the campaign by next year during the month of March.
Basically, our aim is to try to plant 10,000 trees between now and the end of the rainy season in March. It's the Go Green 10,000 Youth Challenge. So we've got 70 volunteers, and we've also got people all over the country that want trees to be planted. So we are now start going out to the different regions of the country to plant trees. The Ministry of Tourism and Forestry is partnering with us, giving us trees so that we can be able to give out the trees to all the different places in the country.
The Divine Healing Ministries Bishop Dr. Nesh Shongwe says this is a great initiative and urged the youth to participate in activities that aim to develop the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Sibese sibonga ke nale youth yalapha kaManzini lezi shila kaManzini le bona ukuthi awu asemane nalapha eDivine ithetho Kenya sithi nje siyabonga kakhulu kuMinistry of Tourism ukuthi awuqhubeke lo msebenzi nale youth qhubeke vele ngoba mangabe busy sebenza kanje ayinawo lento ingathathi ilungu.
This campaign goes in line with the National Plant a Tree campaign, which was launched by the Prime Minister under the theme Plant a Tree and Save the Environment. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muzim Konda, Manzini.
And in our sports news today, the Under-20 national team have collected their first 3 points in this year's COSAFA Under-20 tournament after their 1-0 victory against Angola. Eswatini now heads Group C with 3 points ahead of their second game against Botswana. The game was played at Galvindale Stadium in Port Elizabeth in the Republic of South Africa.
Under-20 national team faced Angola in their open game of the COSAFA Under-20 tournament in Port Elizabeth in the Republic of South Africa. Both nations are in Group C alongside Botswana. In the first half, both teams tried their luck, looking to open the score, but it ended 0-0. In the second half, Angola came looking strong to claim their first goal, but kept on failing to hit the target. It was until the 77th minute of the game that Eswatini opened the score through a corner, and Majasbil Ndlovu gave Eswatini the lead in the game. Angola could have leveled things with 5 minutes before the final whistle through a penalty, but failed to hit the target. The game ended on that note, with Eswatini coach Vrekaya Mtetwa expressing his joy over the performance of his boys, mostly his goalkeeper Ngozipire Matse, who was declared man of the match.
It was about time because they've been dominating us for the past years. So now we waited for our chance, which we managed to utilize. But basically, we tend to manage them to take shots from afar. We didn't want them to be bringing crosses because aerially they are very good. So we just had to be good defensively, especially around the 18 area.
Angolan coach Hendrik Sorinho did as well congratulate his boys, but complained about refereeing.
It's like a football, so Eswatini were the happy team, so they took the chance that they had and they scored the goal.
Eswatini now tops the Group C with 3 points, with the next game on Sunday being between Angola and Botswana. Eswatini will be back in action against Botswana on Tuesday. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, pictures sourced from COSAFA TV.
In our COVID news today, the Ministry of Health has reported 6 new cases of coronavirus out of the 515 results that are received today, which brings the total number to 6,480. The statement further shows that 286 are active cases, 6,066 have recovered, 122 have died, and 6 have been registered for care. Looking at the cases by region, Manzini region has 2,971 confirmed cases. Hoho region has 2,415 cases. Lubombo region has 570 cases, while the Shiselweni region has 524 cases of coronavirus. Well, Eswatini, that is how we come to the end of our news. But before we leave, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. King's Office Director of Economic Affairs, His Royal Highness Prince Lindani, says the construction of the 2 billion Emalangeni Mall in Manzini is His Majesty's vision. The Deputy Prime Minister says the Kingdom of Eswatini is grateful that the first COVID-19 vaccine trial has reached the final efficacy analysis stage. Meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister says government is not taking lightly the calls to declare gender-based violence a pandemic.